to be a lawyer in here? Okay, you come here. Okay, now watch how this works. I work in the Michigan Senate. And before I worked in the Michigan Senate, I worked in the Michigan House of Representatives. Now, in the Michigan Senate, there are 38 senators. 38 of us represent almost 10 million people across the state of Michigan. It's a great big job. Your senator here is a very good friend of mine. His name is Senator Vincent Gregory. And he's a wonderful senator, and I love working with him. I'm happy to have him. I'm fortunate to have him as somebody that I work with. Now, in the Michigan Senate, what's your name? Hold on, let me turn his volume on.
Taven.
Taven. Sounds nice when you turn his volume. Let me turn it up just a little more. Say it one more time.
Taven.
Taven. What's your last name, Taven? Let me turn him up one more time.
Isaac.
Taven Isaac. Taven Isaac sounds like somebody who's going to be really important, doesn't he? He has like an authoritative name. One day I'm probably going to pick up the paper and say, that's Taven Isaac. I was in his class talking to him. Taven Isaac is a lawyer, right? And Taven Isaac decides that he wants to go and he wants to become a Michigan House of Representative member. So he puts down his step out here for me. Taven puts down his multi-million-dollar business being a lawyer and decides he wants to go, he makes multi-millions of dollars. I'm telling you, Taven is one of the best lawyers in the nation. When people get in trouble, they want to call Taven Isaac, right? He's going to be one of these guys, he's going to have commercials. And Taven decides, I want to go be a lawmaker because I want to take what I know about protecting people under the law, and I want to go make some laws. So he decides to run a campaign, and guess what he wins? Now, when Taven Isaac gets to the legislature, there are 110 people that comprise the Michigan House of Representatives. He is one of 110. Taven says, you know what? I'm a lawmaker, and I want to make some laws. And one of the laws he wants to make is he does not like when he goes to restaurants with his family, and they have this smoking section, and people in the smoking section are smoking. He says it's stinky. It interrupts his meal. He doesn't like the way he feels after he inhales secondhand smoke. He doesn't want his children. You didn't know you had children. He doesn't want his children who are in the 4th grade to smell this stuff. So Taven says, I want to make it illegal for anybody to smoke in a public place where public people are working, where people who work for the company are working. He says, I want to get rid of that. I want to get rid of it. Now, how many of you all in here agree that Taven has a good idea? Okay, great. I want you, and you to come up here. Now watch how this works. You all today, I want you all to come over here. Taven is a lawmaker. He has come up with a great bill. Now, a bill has to go through a process. I'm going to make sure. A bill has to go through a process, right? And in order to, got to make sure the man looks sharp. Got to make sure this brother looks sharp. Because Taven and these folks are on TV every day. I want you to fix your collar. Taven and these folks are on TV every day. And when they're on TV, the public sees them. Okay, now put your tie under here. When people see these folks on TV, I got you. They know that they're serious and that they mean business and that they're successful. They're intelligent. You got it. Gotta have you looking your best, brother. When the family sees you on TV, what's your name? Jamil. They gotta say, man, that Jamil is sharp. And people are gonna say, man, did you see Jamil on TV today? Jamil was sharp. And Jamil was smart, and he said all these great things. Now, these folks work with Taven. They are his colleagues. They are also House of Representative members. And they are on a committee, right? And they're on the Judiciary Committee. No, they're on the Health and Human Services Committee. And Taven is going to take his bill. You all have seen this thing called Schoolhouse Rock where they say, I'm just a bill, only a bill.
We're going to be watching
singing on Capitol Hill. Now, if you haven't seen that, that just means I'm telling my age. Because they used to run this commercial every Saturday between the cartoons. And that's how all of us learn the process. Taven takes his bill. He's got to take it to these good people on the committee. Some of them are Democrats. Some of them are Republicans. But there's no difference in their character because they're all good people. Doesn't matter if they're Democrat or Republican. So Taven comes to committee and he wants to convince these good people that he not only has a good bill, but that this good bill needs to be voted on. My man. We went to high school together.
I didn't know that.
But he wants to convince these good people that this bill has what we call merit. That it deserves to be heard, and that eventually we need to make this bill into a law. So Taven has to go and sit down with each member and convince them of all the merits that his bill has. It's a tough job. Because even though these are all good people, they're Republicans and Democrats, sometimes they just don't like what these bills say. So it's not that they don't like Taven, because remember, Taven's a great lawyer. He's made lots of money. And now he wants to do something really honorable. He wants to give back to the community. So Taven goes and he has all these discussions, and sometimes they're tough discussions. Sometimes people just walk in, he walks in, and some of them just say, Taven, I love the bill. You got my support. Hey, how's your family? And they go talking about other things. So, on the committee, how many people do we have? 5 people. If I ask you how many of those people do you need to have a majority of the committee members, how many members does Taven need to convince to vote for his bill? 3. I love that you guys did. And so Taven gets 1, 2, 3 people to see it his way. Now the reason that I pointed out women on this committee is because in the United States of America, and this is something you all can help me with, this country still has a very difficult time understanding that there ought not be any difference between women and men and how much money they make, how much power they possess, and how much ability that they have. None of these people needs to be looked at differently than what they bring to the table. Dr. King said it, John F. Kennedy says it, your teachers say it, and now great presidents like Barack Obama say it, that all of these people are equal. But it just so happens that the 3 women, they see it his way. And so Taven now has a majority of the votes that he needs to get it out of committee. My committee members, you can have a seat. So Taven just won a victory, because that's the first step in the process of getting his bill passed. Now Taven has or I should say, Representative Isaac has the responsibility to get all the other members to see it his way. He's got 109 other people to convince. And he goes out and he talks to Democrats and he talks to Republicans. And there's this one special person that he really needs to talk to. And that special person is you. Come on up. Now this person here, what's your name?
Anthony.
Anthony, is good to meet you. Anthony, what's your last name?
Cole.
Anthony Cohen. Anthony Cohen is what we call a lobbyist. Anthony Cohen possesses a lot of authority because Anthony is an authority on smoking. He works for a cigarette company. We won't hold that against him. But he wants to convince Representative Isaac that even though he might have a good bill, he doesn't think it should pass the legislature. So, lobbyist Mr. Cohen wants to go and talk to Representative Isaac. And when they get together, they don't necessarily see eye to eye. And what ends up happening is while the lobbyist says, well, I want it this way, Representative Isaac says, well, it's the other way. I'm going to pass my bill because I want to protect children. I want to protect seniors. I want to protect business establishments. I want to make sure that people do not inhale secondhand, stinky, lung cancer causing cigarettes. And I want people who go to restaurants and go to other public places to be free from secondhand smoke. So Representative Isaac and the lobbyists, they don't necessarily agree because they're representing 2 separate groups. But the representative is kind enough to say to Mr. Cohen, listen, I respect that you came to see me. I appreciate your viewpoint. But on this one, we are going to agree to what? Disagree. That means that we're just going to see it differently and we don't have to fight about it. And I respect that you had a difference of opinion. Thank you, Mr. Lobbyist. You can have some. And so after he has all of his discussions, because this is what Representative Isaac has to do, it goes to what we call the full House. And everybody then has to vote on his bill. He gets up. He gives a great speech because that's what great lawyers know how to do. They go to closing arguments. They give great speeches. You're really a good speaker, too. And everybody sees it his way. He gets a 1 110 unanimous vote. It is now out of the House and has to go to the Senate. Give your representative a hand. Now, his job gets a little more difficult because he's got to go and do the same process over in the next chamber. He has to go through committee again. He's got to get it out of committee. He's got to convince people, Republicans, Democrats. Then he's got to get it to the full Senate floor. And because he's not in the Senate, Representative Isaac would be wise to get someone who is a senator to help him get this thing through the Senate. Senator, come on. He needs a partner. We all need a partner in the legislature. What's your name? Aaron. Aaron. What's your last name? Aaron Henry. Wow, he sounds like smart. Aaron Henry sounds like a gentleman who's going to write books, and we're going to read them. Did you read that latest Aaron Henry book? Have you read the memoirs of Aaron Henry? Sounds like somebody who's going to write. But then he doesn't need just one partner, because this is a Republican and Democratic thing. So he needs another partner. Senator, come on up. What's your name? Ariana. Butler. Ariana Butler. She sounds like a doctor, like a veterinarian, a pediatrician, neurologist, something like that. Am I close? All right. So I got two senators here. And Representative Isaac says, I need to go sit down and have coffee with my colleagues. And Ariana Butler is a Republican. That's okay. Mr. Henry is a Democrat. That's okay. The three of them, they go sit down, they have a cup of coffee. Representative Isaac convinces them that this is the smartest thing to take up. Yet, one of them has an issue with his bill, and they aren't really sure that they're ready to support the bill. But they tell him, we will not stand in your way. So he has his collegial meeting. They have all the discussion they need to have. They know that he's going to do it. And specifically, Senator Butler says, I will be happy to be your partner in the Senate to help you run this thing. And so they go to the committee, they go to the full floor vote, and it comes out. And again, Representative Isaac has gotten his bill through the Senate. Thank your senators. Now what happens next? No, come back, Rep. Come back, because your job isn't done. What happens next? After the bill comes out of both chambers and it's ready to go to the next step. Who's the next step? Who's got to see this bill next?
The president.
Not the president, but somebody who's in the same type of position that the president is in. That's not a bad answer either, because the president is the executive over the national government. So, good guess. The governor. Representative Isaac has a bill that is prepared for the governor. How many of you all know, though, it doesn't simply matter that he got it through the legislature. The governor could still say, nope, I don't like the bill. How many of you all know that? The governor has that kind of authority. And in 2012, when Representative Isaac is on the stump and he is the guy in the seat, and Michigan's a very cosmopolitan state, we again have our second female governor. Governor, won't you join us? What's your name? Brooklyn. It's a beautiful name. Brooklyn Tripp. She sounds, all these people sound so important. They got like these dynamic, like, grab at you names. Governor Tripp. Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Tripp. I don't know if she ever thought she was going to be the governor. But she's the governor today. Of all the people, all the time. Right? And Governor Tripp has children of her own. She's got 6 children. She's got a great family. Her and her husband, who is now the first, what do they call him? First gentleman. They have gone around the state. They've put together a beautiful family. Everybody respects them. When we see them, we think of the Obamas because they're that beautiful together, right? And their kids are smart, and they're in schools, and they're doing all this great stuff. And Governor Tripp says that she not only likes her bill, the bill that Representative Isaac has brought to her, but she wants to do a public signing because this is such a monumental step forward for the state of Michigan, right? And so Representative Isaac is so happy to have gotten this bill passed. He invites his family, his friends, folks from the Lung Cancer Association, folks from the American Heart Association, doctors, business owners, the whole nine. Everybody shows up because they want to do this bill signing. And she signs his bill into law and makes it a statewide law that no longer Can anyone in a public place smoke cigarettes at the expense of the people who are working in that same location? Ladies and gentlemen, give your great governor and your astounding representative who moved the bill through the entire legislature a hand. That's how this thing works. And so I'm here to tell you a couple quick things. Any of you all can be the governor, the state rep, the state senator. Lord knows I didn't think that this is what I was going to do. I wanted to be a veterinarian. But I kind of found out, you want to be a veterinarian too? I love it. I kind of found out that I was good at politics, and politics kind of kept me after a while. Any of you can do this, though. I am not that special. I'm no more special than you. But to get from where you are today to where I am today, or to get from where you are today to anything else you're trying to do on your own, all you have to do is, number one, dream. But then number two, you got to make somebody help you with your dream, right? So you got these teachers, you got these parents, you got these administrators, you got folks who came from great schools. Akindele and I, you all don't call him Akindele, but I call him Ak, because that's just, you know, our friend thing. He and I went to a really good high school, UD High, and, you know, a bunch of guys at UD High had some dreams. And I don't think I knew what I wanted to be when I was at UD. I didn't know. And he didn't know either. But the point I'm trying to make is, at the end of this, I'm going to ask you all a very simple question, and then I'm going to challenge you to do something. You can be whatever you want to be the moment you decide that you want to be it. You have to find an adult to help you go to that special place. So if you want to be a veterinarian, you know what you got to do? You got to tell mom or dad or a teacher or your pastor, priest, whomever it is that you worship with, or somebody in the library or somebody at the church, aunt and uncle or grandmother, you got to tell them, hey, listen, I don't know if you knew, but I want to be a veterinarian, and I really want to be a veterinarian. And I want you to help me. I want to read all about veterinarians. I want you to take me by a veterinarian clinic. I want you to introduce me to veterinarians. I want you to see if you can help me get a job. Well, not a job, but an internship. So I can go over and I can learn all about how they do it. And somebody's going to say to you, what's your name? Natea Boyd. Somebody's going to say, boy, that Natea, she really wants to be a veterinarian. I think that I better not let her down. And I better take her to learn some of what she's asking me for. And that's how you do it. It's just that simple. So who said they want to be a lawyer? Representative Isaac. All you have to do is tell somebody, I need you to introduce me to a lawyer, right? And if you do that, someone will. And before we leave, I'll make sure you all have my number. And if you can tell me what it is you want to be, I'll try to introduce you to someone who is that thing and try to hook you up and get you to that next place. Okay, so I got this book.